Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something that's literally reshaping how we interact with everyday tech. For years, smartwatches have completely dominated the conversation around wearable technology, right? But the landscape is shifting. Samsung is making a huge, highly anticipated play here that actually changes the physical shape of personal tech. We're going to do a full spec teardown today, straight from the source data to see exactly how much hardware they've managed to squeeze into this brand new form factor. Let's get into it.
So, it's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What actually comes after the smartwatch? We've all gotten so used to notifications, GPS, and health metrics constantly vibrating on our wrists all day long. But I want you to imagine something totally different. Imagine stripping away the screen, stripping away all that bulk, and packing an entire biometric health lab onto a single finger. We're talking about a piece of tech so small it practically disappears into your daily routine, all while constantly monitoring your vitals in the background. That's exactly the premise of the device we're breaking down today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Enter the Galaxy Ring, and Samsung's big shift from wrist to finger. To really get what Samsung is doing here, we've got to look at the macro context of this release. This isn't just some quiet, experimental side project. No way. It's a major statement in the wearable tech space. On July 10, 2024, Samsung didn't just drop a ring. They launched the Galaxy Watch 7, they launched the ultra-premium Galaxy Watch 7 Ultra, and right alongside those flagship smartwatches, sharing the exact same launch day, they debuted the Galaxy Ring. Dropping this right next to their biggest wearable releases tells us everything we need to know. The Ring isn't replacing the watch. It's being introduced as a critical parallel pillar in a massive, comprehensive wearable strategy.
And the crucial takeaway here is the milestone this represents. This is officially Samsung's first smart ring equipped with biometric health monitoring. Now sure, we've seen smart rings before, but having a tech giant like Samsung enter the fray, that completely validates this entire category. They're taking all their health tracking expertise and just compressing it down to fit on your hand.
Moving right along to Section 2, designed for the finger, astonishingly small dimensions.
Okay, this is where the physical engineering gets absolutely fascinating. It's one thing to talk about health tracking, right? It's a totally different beast to actually build a device where a form meets function so perfectly that you literally forget you're wearing it. The engineering constraints here are just wild. We're looking at a width of 7.0 millimeters and a thickness of just 2.6 millimeters. But the most staggering detail here is the weight. It's 2.3 to 3.0 grams. Just think about that for a second. 3 grams! A standard sheet of paper weighs about 5 grams, so this entire computer is practically microscopic in its physical footprint. Now you'll notice the weight and the battery capacity, which sits between 18 and 23.5 milliamp hours, are variable. That's simply because these specs change based on the physical ring size you choose. A larger finger means a slightly larger ring, which yields a tiny bit more weight and a fraction more room for a battery.
Of course, if it's going to live on your finger, it has to look good. Samsung went with a really premium build here, offering 3 distinct aesthetic finishes: titanium black, titanium silver, and titanium gold. It's a super clean, metallic lineup that completely disguises the fact that this is advanced tech and not just standard jewelry. Which brings us to Section 3, Tiny Tech, Big Tracking. Fitting a 7-day battery into just 8 megabytes of RAM. Now what's really interesting here is how this thing operates on just 8 megabytes of RAM without instantly draining its power. In modern computing, 8 megabytes is practically unheard of, but here it does exactly what it needs to do. Let's break down what those sensors are actually doing with that power. The Ring features a PPG sensor. If you aren't familiar, a photoplethysmogram uses light to detect blood volume changes in your tissue. Basically, it's a highly technical way of saying it's an incredibly precise sensor, used primarily for tracking your heart rate. But that's not all. The source data confirms the Ring is also packed with an accelerometer to track your physical movement, plus dedicated skin temperature sensors. The whole shebang capturing biometric data continuously, right from your finger.
But, putting sensitive sensors on your hand, a hand that you wash, use to cook, and expose to the elements all day, that requires some serious protection. The Ring boasts IP68 and 10 ATM ratings. To clarify the alphabet soup there, IP68 means it's fully dust-tight and can survive continuous submersion in water. The 10 ATM rating takes that a step further, meaning it can withstand water pressures equivalent to a depth of 100 meters. So yeah, this tiny 3-gram piece of tech is heavily protected against whatever your daily life throws at it. And to actually transmit all that data back to your phone, it uses BLE 5.4 or Bluetooth Low Energy. Honestly, this is the secret sauce for the battery life. BLE 5.4 is highly efficient. It lets the ring constantly handshake with your smartphone to offload your heart rate and temperature data without taxing that tiny battery, ensuring you actually get those promised 7 days of life.
Section 4. The ecosystem and price. The requirements and the macro price tag.
So what are the practicalities, and maybe the catch, of owning this thing? First up, the ecosystem requirements, and they are pretty strict. To use the Galaxy Ring, you absolutely must have a smartphone running Android 11 or above. Plus, you need the Samsung Health app installed to act as the central hub for all that biometric data it's collecting. It's very clearly designed to deepen a user's integration into the existing Android and specifically Samsung software ecosystem.
And then we have the launch price, $399.99. Now remember when we talked about the weight being just 3 grams? At $400 for a 3-gram device, you are quite literally paying a premium per gram that rivals some luxury metals. It's kind of funny when you look at it that way, but it underscores a harsh reality. Miniaturizing advanced biometric sensors, getting them to run smoothly on 8 megabytes of RAM, and shielding the whole thing behind titanium and 10 ATM water resistance, that is not cheap. It's a premium macro cost for a microscopic device.
Section 5. The Smart Ring Future. The new contender steps into the ring.
Samsung throwing its weight behind this form factor is a massive indicator of where consumer health tracking is headed, and they definitely aren't entering an empty market. For years, the Oura Ring has been the established dominant player in this specific niche. But now, we've got the Samsung Galaxy Ring stepping up as the new heavyweight contender. Metaphorically speaking, of course, since it weighs practically nothing. By bringing the vast resources of Samsung Electronics into this space, they are directly challenging the incumbents, and honestly, pushing the entire smart ring category right into the mainstream spotlight.
So what does this all mean? I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder based on everything we've unpacked today. With devices packing full photoplethysmogram sensors, temperature tracking, and a week of battery life into just 3 grams of titanium, is the future of personal health tracking destined to stay on your wrist? Or is it inevitably moving to your finger? It's going to be incredibly fascinating to watch how this miniaturized tech evolves over the next few years. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.